But
Hi. Last week we were discussing Muslim anti-Semitism and really the origin of Muslim and its natural distaste or to any other religions. Um, this week, let's continue that discussion. And what I'd like to also do is bring it more up to date and see what's currently is going on in the Middle East, especially with JD Vance just left Israel, the vice president, and we have situations where I just saw the headline in one of the Jerusalem Posts that says that if Netanyahu F's up, then Trump is going to F him. So there seems to be a lot of threats going around, and it's really unlike what I expected from Trump. I'm very disappointed in him for being so wishy-washy. I think his wishy-washiness really stems from some kind of an egotistical trip that he thinks is going to be able to be the savior of the world, and he's not going to be the savior of the world. I voted for him. I supported him domestically. I do not support him regarding international affairs. I think he's doing Ukraine a betrayal. He really is betraying America. Well, America is really betraying its obligations to other countries. Trump speaks from both sides of his mouth. He says one thing one day, and the next day he says something else, and he is keeping everybody up in the air, not knowing how to think, what to do. Because he himself is doesn't appear to be a very grounded person. Uh, Now, the issue with Ukraine is I know that in 1994, and everybody can look it up at AI, Zoom it, or Google it, is that 1994, Bill Clinton signed an agreement along with England that since that nuclear weapons storage in Ukraine would be released to the West, to America, and to England, and there America will destroy these nuclear arsenal. Then America will protect Ukraine against invasion. That was a signed document, and look what happened. A total betrayal. Trump even wants Ukraine to cede land. He's not going to send U.S. troops as under the obligation of the agreement. So therefore, what I think is for Netanyahu to trust even Americans to come to its aid when at a time of critical decision-making time, Israel would be really stupid to cede anything for the expectation that the great betraying United States is going to come to its aid. Bibi is making horrible, horrible mistakes in putting all of his eggs in the American basket. I think he needs to go ahead and go more independent and not so be reliant on other countries. So go ahead, David. Uh, Give me your thoughts about Islam, and let's continue this conversation.
well, when you get aid from another country, they are the master, you are the slave. So Israel has to do what America tells them, or they'll cut off the aid, which would actually be a benefit. America should cut off foreign aid to every country and let countries like Israel, who have to constantly defend themselves, do what they have to do, because eventually it will have to be done. All we're doing is kicking the can down the road with these phony peace deals. No contract is binding according to the Quran. So they could sign a peace deal and attack you tomorrow. That showed me that Trump has no idea about Islam. He doesn't have a clue, and I don't know who's advising him. I wish he would hear the show and send for me to advise him on Islam so he'd know what's going on. But he also made a statement besides forcing this crazy peace deal on Israel. He made a statement that showed he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to the Middle East. He said he wants to see all the tribal warfare ended in the Middle East. Yeah, there's an occasional little skirmish here and there that's tribal, but This isn't tribal warfare. This is Islam. This is the heart of Islam. You could see when this phony peace deal took off, this happened. This is Hamas killing fellow Gazans. If they don't have infidels to kill, they're almost as happy killing each other because Islam is a death cult. And I want to show a picture of this Israeli girl. Just look at her. She's gorgeous, so she could be a little bit more moderately uh, modest, a little modesty in her dress. But she was killed on October 7th, 2 years ago. They not only killed her, they raped her, and then they chopped her head off. And that's Islam. And this is, if we go back in history, and I know young people don't remember any of this, they weren't here. And with young people in today's world, the world didn't exist before they were born, so they know nothing of the past. But the shoe bomber was a Muslim. The Beltway snipers were Muslims. The Fort Hood shooter was a Muslim. The underwear bomber was a Muslim. The USS Cole bombers were Muslims. The Madrid train bombers, Madrid, that's Spain, who is coming down hard on Israel, were Muslims. The Bali nightclub bombers were
How many
Muslim.
people were killed in that train? Do you know?
No, I
I
don't
thought
know.
it
I
was
don't have
100.
those figures.
I thought it was a couple of hundred people who were killed in
I
that
think you're
train
right. Killed and
in
wounded.
beautiful Cumbaya, Spain.
Yeah, and every time Spain comes down on Israel, they get a massive flood, which they is well deserved. The London subway bombers were Muslims. The Moscow theater attackers were Muslims. The Boston Marathon bombers were Muslims. Pan Am, which doesn't exist anymore, Pan Am used to be a major airline. Flight number 93, bombers were Muslims. Air France Entebbe hijackers were Muslims. The Iranian embassy takeover was by Muslims. The Beirut U.S. embassy bombers were Muslims. The Libyan U.S. embassy attack was by Muslims. The Buenos Aires, and what does Argentina have to do with this? The Buenos Aires suicide bombers were Muslims. Of course, the Israeli Olympic team, I think that was back in 72, were Muslims. The Kenyan U.S. embassy bombing was Muslims. The Saudi Khobar Towers bombers were Muslims. The Beirut Marine bombs, where we lost about a little over 240 Marines, were Muslims. The Beslan Russian school attackers were Muslims. The first World Trade Center bombers were Muslims. The Bombay and Mumbai, India attackers were Muslims. The Achille Lauro cruise ship hijackers were Muslims. And of course, September 11th, where we lost about 2,800 people in the World Trade Center, were Muslims. Now, if you want to go back in time to the time Islam was founded by Muhammad, one of the two most evil people that ever lived, 270 million, of course, this is a guesstimate, 270 million people were killed by Islam since they were founded. And more recently, 1979 to 2000, there were 2,194 attacks and 6,817 deaths. 2001 to 2012, the number of attacks went up. 8,265 attacks and 38,187 deaths. 2013 to 2024, 56,413 attacks. This is worldwide, of course, and 204,937 deaths. This has nothing to do with Israel. They claim, well, this is since Israel was founded. No, it has nothing to do with Israel. It's the fact that we and most of the world are buying Arab oil, giving them trillions of petrodollars to carry out and buy weapons and carry out their attacks. Before that, before the oil, they were destitute. They can't drill their oil. All they can do is step on the sand. They have to send for Americans, and it's a combined Arab-American company called Aramco. where the Americans do all the work and the Saudis collect the money. And for an American to go over there, they give you a lot of bonuses and they'll raise your salary, whatever you're making at your American company, they'll raise your salary about 20%, and they will pay your income taxes to America. So whatever you make there is pure take home. So they do get some volunteers. And without those volunteers, Saudi Arabia couldn't drill a single barrel of oil on their own.
You missed one thing. I wish you would have hit upon it. Is that in 1929, which was
They're
what,
wrong.
19 years before the state of Israel, before anything, even World War II, the Mufti of Jerusalem, uh, Hussein, what was his name? El, El Husseini or whatever that. Who
Yeah,
cares
he
what his
went to
name was?
Berlin and spent the war with Hitler.
With Hitler, but he stirred up Arab writers in Hebron, which was a Jewish city, and the Arabs, with no reason at all, attacked and killed scores of Jews in 1929. You can't blame that. They went ahead and did it because Israel in 1967 went into war and beat the crapola out of the Arab invaders and attained what you call the West Bank. We call it Judea Samaria. That so I mean, the Arab hatred toward Jews has always existed. They are murderers. That's all what they are. They're just petty murderers. They're thieves and they're liars. That's all. And the Quran blesses them for that for their uh, attributes of being what I just mentioned. That's the blessings they get from Quran. It's ought to be murderers, thieves, and liars. That's it. That's all what they are. Uh, they'll smile in your face. They'll hug you. But once you get too many hugs, you can be assured that that knife is going to stab you right in the back. So, so I don't care if people want to be loved and party with the Arabs. Let them get stabbed in the back. That's all. The Arabs and the Jews are not going to ever get along together. One of the things that I would like to mention is that I was asked a couple of times by different people, why is there always so much animosity between the Arabs and the Jews? I mean, they're really cousins in religion, and in sort of a way we are. They are definitely a monotheistic religion, and we're also monotheistic. We both pray to the one God, the same God, and so forth. So why is there so much animosity and so much hate? So one of the things I would like to explain to everybody, to the audience and everybody who is listening, is that nobody seems to understand what is the sanctity of both religions. So when I asked what is the sanctity of Judaism, even Jews don't know. Not all of them. Many Jews don't know what is it. What do Jews sanctify? Then, so they say God. Well, yeah, we sanctify God, but that's how we sanctify. We sanctify life. Then I ask the next question is, what do the Arabs sanctify? And they say and the common answer to the question is that people they don't know. So they say what, death? So say no, Arabs don't sanctify death. What they sanctify is honor. That's a sanctity. We sanctify life, they sanctify honor. So the next question that I pose to people is, for the sake of honor, will an Arab kill his own daughter? Everybody knows the answer. The honor of the family, the honor of their tribe, the honor of their religion. An Arab will definitely kill his own daughter, his mother, his sister, his sons, just because of honor. Okay. Now, the issue is if they're willing to kill their own members of their own family without remorse, their own daughters, what do you think they're going to do to Jews and to Christians? So, how could these idiots all over the world pick, choose a side to weep over people they do not know what these people sanctify? It's totally idiotic. If you want to hate somebody, you have to have a reason to hate. You have to find the source why you hate these people. Okay? They don't know anything about Judaism and they hate the Jews. They don't know anything about the Arabs, but they love the Arabs. I mean, it's totally insane. It's taking sanity and inverting it on its head. The world has totally gone insane about it. So going back to what you said about all these bombings, and I have a passing thought. Well, maybe perhaps Israel should become a terrorist state and start bombing and killing everybody, in the outside world, just like the Arabs, and then the people in America. And in Western Europe and everybody will start loving the Jews because the Jews are killing them. This is how logic is totally inverted upside down. So if the Jews would start killing them, then they're going to love us. Hey, guess what, man? Let's all drink Turkish coffee and eat hummus in an Israeli cafe instead of a Turkish cafe because you just got through bombing us. I mean, this is what they do. This is the mentality of the Western mind, and it's being taught to love him in because those poor people, those poor Palestinians. Look at these settlers, these people who come in from Europe and they settle and they took away their land. Well, I never heard of so much BS in the world because that it was never their land. They do not have any deed of trust. The only true deed of trust there is the Jews possess the deed of trust through thousands of years called the Bible. The Bible says it's our land. This is our deed of trust. The
Any
Arab deed of
artifacts that
trust.
are found are Jewish artifacts. You don't find Arab artifacts there.
No, you don't. You don't have. I mean, name me one Arab king that lived there, or name me one library that was ever built in the West Bank in Palestine from the river to the sea. Name one institution, one hot. What did they ever do over there except crap up the land? I mean, yeah, you're right. So in archaeology, it's our land. There's proof. The deed of trust is written in the Bible, which has been accepted for thousands of years, but not today. Not today. People say, "Oh, we don't believe in the Bible." You know, we don't believe in that stuff. Uh, okay. Yeah, if you don't believe in it, great, don't believe in it. But we are not going to leave. And if J.D. Vance thinks that he's a Christian, well, he better start. And Trump thinks he's a Christian, then he better really start honing in on what is the sanctity of Christianity and how much they always turn against the Jews. Why are they turning against the Jews? A couple of weeks ago, Trump said one violation. It's going to be hell in Gaza. I never seen a guy vacillate. He vacillates even quicker than Vaseline rubbed on a sidewalk.
They during World War II, the Palestinian Brigade was all Jewish. That was the Jewish brigade that fought alongside the British. Palestinian currency had the Jewish star on it, which is why Arafat was screaming there's no such thing as Palestine, because when you thought of Palestine, you thought of Jews. That has been switched around and turned on its head. Now, when you think of Palestine, you think of the Arabs having their own country called Palestine, and that the Jews are interlopers there. Well, in 1860, Mark Twain went to the Holy Land, and he said he saw nobody, he saw nothing. He said, "It never rains here. This can't support human life." There were a few humans, mostly Jews, a few Bedouins, but very little life. Then the Jews in the 1880s started coming back to their homeland, followed by Arabs looking for work. And this is how we got that way, because once the Jews started coming back, the rain started coming again. And it became a fertile land for the Jews, but where the Arabs live, there's nothing but sand, and there never will be anything. They're not taught anything in school except to memorize the Quran and how to hate. Maybe you remember just a few years ago, they had that Mickey Mouse figure, Falfel or something like that, who was preaching anti Jewishness from the moment he appeared on television. And finally, because Disney was going to sue him because he looked just like Mickey Mouse, I don't know how you sue Arabs who don't care if they kill you or don't care if they die, but they finally killed off Balfour, and they said the Israelis did it. Well, I have
Israelis.
something here that shows how the West has been turned on his head, on its head. Countries that ban public support for Hamas: Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, Egypt. Places where pro-Hamas protests occur daily: USA, United Kingdom, all over Europe, Canada. So they are all, these countries are upside down. The West is really, it's finished. I don't know how it can ever come back. It doesn't think clearly. And mostly it's because of leftists who are brain dead. And you could tell them anything and they will believe it because
Well,
they don't know history.
I'm much more concerned about the wishy-washiness of Donald Trump, whereas he's talking from both sides of his mouth when it comes to the issue. I don't believe in Israel that can even trust him. I really don't think. I mean, I speak to my family over there, my daughters and her husband, and they're connected, and they with everything in Israel is really with one degree of connection from somebody else. And the people that know, the people who have real connections over there. I mean, nobody trusts Trump because he just talks from both sides of his mouth. And due to that, why should Israel put up with the threats? Like you said earlier, sooner or later it's going to happen. So let it happen now. Let's get it over with. Israel needs to go ahead and wipe out Hamas because Hamas, according to the agreement, they have violated the agreement numerous times. And Trump is in the White House diddle-daddling around. They say, well, let's see if we can save this agreement because the Abrahamic Accord is very important. Well, I don't trust the Abrahamic Accord any more than I trust the accord that Israel went with Egypt. Yeah, well, that accord is about 40 years old, and the peace that Israel got with Egypt was really an understanding that one side will not really attack the other side. That's the only peace that came out of it. I don't want to have peace with the Arabs. I want them to, just leave us alone. I want them to go away. I don't want, I don't want them to be around us. Uh, I mean, it would be wonderful if Israel was an island, and the only neighbors we had were fish. We need fish as neighbors. We do not need Arabs as neighbors.
I
Uh,
see you have your neighbors right in back of you.
those are my neighbors. There's Yasser and Trump, and there is a bus, and here there's a bus over there, and Trump is the one, the golden one with the head. Yeah, that's and of course Sulman bin whatever his name is. The prince of the prince of Saudi Arabia. Who needs all these people? Smotrich said something really interesting today. He said, if he thinks that we are going to, create a Palestinian state or something like that, uh, he'd rather have, rather have the Saudis riding their camels in the desert before we're going to create a, Palestinian state. So that he's right. Let them ride their camels in the desert. Nobody needs these people who do not abide and honor their own agreements because of the Quran. The Quran that has secret words behind it that nobody knows what it means. And they omit, out of omission, they omit things to reveal its really true nature of what kind of a murderous, thieving religion it is. But
Well,
it is
Muhammad
what.
was a murderer and a rapist, a pedophile, and a thief, and he created a religion around that to make his crimes kosher.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, no, it's called halal nowadays. Don't say kosher because kosher is not cool anymore. It's halal, you know. Unbelievable. I mean, how quickly insanity just reigned over the world, and there's just no common sense anymore. It's sad. It's really disappointing, and this is why I really rely on the source above us, which is God, to really protect us and give us our our salvation as He promised, and it's happening. I mean, it's going to happen with America or without America. You said a little bit earlier about Israel being the benefactor recipient of U.S. aid, but one of the things that you missed was how much aid is Israel giving America back? How many potentially because of Israel's intelligence sharing and protection? How many American lives did Israel save? Is that not worth all the billions of dollars that the United States gave Israel? Israel has been helping the United States with all these not only intelligence sharing, in technologies, in military technologies, know-how, and everything to protect its own rear end. Yeah, so they do. So Americans do not get killed, but the only way you're going to value the relationship is based on how much billions of dollars the United States gives Israel. So the lives don't make any difference. The billions of dollars do.
Well, during George Bush Jr.'s shock and awe war against Iraq, we
Yeah.
used Israel's satellite because Israel's satellite was far more advanced and could be repositioned in minutes, where repositioning American satellite took hours. So Israel let us use their satellite for the second Iraq war. And yeah, and they share intelligence. And of course, it's more coming this way because Israel is right there and they have a pretty good intelligence system. And then it's not just sharing intelligence, but they come here and they teach us how to fight, how to self defend. There's a lot of Israelis in my little town who have self defense classes and how to protect yourself. And in my town, it's totally unnecessary. A crime wave in my town, because my town is older white people. A crime wave would be two DUIs, driving while under the influence in the same night. That's the big crime wave here. Plus, a
Hmm.
criminal would have to be out of his mind to do anything here. Everybody's armed to the teeth.
Yeah. Well, I wish the Jews were armed to the teeth. Oh, not only here, but across the world, and actually use their weapons. Uh, because it's easier to pick on somebody that you know they're not going to hurt you as opposed to somebody that you know that they're going to kill you. This is why I'm saying that people are not going to go after Russia. They're not going to go in, and protest in Paris or in London or wherever and try to kill Russians because the Russians are killing Ukrainians. But why? Because the Russians are going to come back at them. They're going to really, really put the hurt on anybody who puts their hands on a Russian. But not the Jews. The Jews are very passive, very kumbaya. So it's easier to pounce on the Jews. But
You,
I can
you
assure
you
you,
insult a Muslim and they will kill you. You insult a Jew, it's please don't hit, don't holler, don't hurt me.
yeah,
That's why Jews needed their own state where they didn't have to have second class citizenship. And now that they have their own state, people don't like the rest of the world doesn't like the Jews who were always so passive for so long, defending themselves pretty well.
but not only that, I agree with you. It's also that in the 70 years from a country that was, like I said earlier, from malaria, desert stones, and everything, it turned out to be a very progressive Western country with modern infrastructures and skyscrapers and modern hospitals, some of the best in the world, where you have even medical tourism coming from all over the world because the Israeli doctors are great doctors over there. Uh, so in the 78 years, the country has not only flourished as far as agriculture, but also in almost every field of science there is. So yeah, why? So yeah, from the river to the sea, I can understand why these thieves want the state of Israel because they cannot produce it themselves. It's easier to steal it while the infrastructure is up and running. I mean, the original governor of England, what was his name? Wingate. Wingate was a colonel in the British Royal Army, whatever what it is, and he was appointed as a governor of Palestine at the time. That was in the 1920s after World War One. One of the quotes that he said is, "You could always tell the difference between an Arab village or an Arab farm and a Jewish farm." And he said the reason, the way you can tell the difference is that the Jew loves the land. He will till the land. He will remove the rocks. He will clean the land. He pampers the land. The Arabs don't do anything. They don't clear the rocks. They throw the garbage all over the place, and they still do even today. They totally desecrate the land. Even today, they do it to this day. You can drive. Anybody can either do Google satellite or of Israel, and they can always see the difference between the Jewish towns and the Jewish farms as opposed to the Arabs. The
Well,
Arabs,
even Churchill, Winston Churchill said, and he called them Mohammedans. Where the Mohammedans go, there is nothing but desert. Where the Jews go, there is green.
well, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So anyway, I think it looks like we're timing out already. Do you have it? Yeah, we have
Yeah,
another
I
five
just want
minutes
to
to
show
go.
this
So
picture.
go ahead. Go ahead.
This is a Polish doctor from World War II, Eugene Lazowski. He saved 8,000 Jewish lives. What he did was he injected Jews with the dead typhus virus, and the Nazis would not ship you if you were sick. It wasn't because they were kind to you, it's because they didn't want to catch it. So he injected them with dead typhus. Anytime you checked them, it looked like they had typhus. And so 8,000 Jews survived because of that man. I hope he's at Yad Vashem, but he's really very unknown. I just stumbled on him by accident.
Uh, that's really impressive. Hold on one second. Continue talking, and I'm going to come back with a picture to show you.
Okay, well, let me see what else do I have here. Oh, Yasser Arafat was an Egyptian, but he was claimed to be the head of the Palestine Liberation Organization. And they accused Jews of being colonizers. But Yasser Arafat, who was one of the most disgusting people who ever lived, born in Cairo, lived in Lebanon, Tunisia, and other Arab countries, died in France, but he was a Palestinian. And 1,400 years of Arab Muslim conquest, 270 million people murdered, mostly Christians, and well, mostly non Jews. But if you really think Jews are the colonizers, then history is upside down.
So let me show you a picture of, you see this picture?
Yeah,
Well, let me move the camera up and back. So you see a British soldier on a camel in front of the pyramids and the Sphinx. So where am I going with this? Oh, you see, in front of you see the Sphinx and the camel and British soldier, right?
yeah,
Okay. That was my father. He was in the British Army. First of all, he joined the British Brigade, I mean, the Polish Brigade, and that was decimated in a couple of weeks by Hitler, and the remnants went to England because they had a pact, they had a treaty. He fought in World War II against the Nazis in Europe. He was shipped to North Africa, and then that's where it was taken after the war. As the war was winding down, he was in Egypt, and that's when the war ended. All of his life, he protected Jews. Even before he became a soldier, there was riots in Poland against the Jews, and it was instigated by a bishop in one of the beautiful Catholic churches that the monuments on to kill Jews. So he went out, and my father actually killed a few of these Catholics who went out to murder Jews. So he became a wanted man. He ran off to Russia and he hid in Russia. When the war broke out, he came back to Poland. He went into the Polish Brigade and so on. He fought like I said, in Italy, in Europe. He fought in the Battle of El Alamein. He fought in Egypt, and then when the war ended, he went. He went. He became an honorary British subject, which means he was a British citizen, and it said he could live anywhere in the world he wants to live. He said, "I want to live in Israel." That was his home. That's where he that's where he settled. Um, so in other words, so what happened was all of his life he fought against Jew haters, and they lost their lives to him. Um, One time, I was asked by some of the Lubavitch Hasidic movement that they believed that the rabbi was a Messiah, that they said, well, isn't this rabbi who passed away, isn't he the king, Messiah? So I said, well, I asked him, what makes you think so? They said, well, look at all the Jewish lives he had saved by bringing Jews closer to God. So I said, well, yeah, he did a wonderful job, bringing Jews to become more faithful to God. But then I asked him, that's how, I asked him, is that how he saved their lives? He said, yes, because if they didn't, they would be wayward and they'll just die off. Nobody will be recognize what they are. So I said, well, I asked him, my father fought against anti-Semitism all of his life. And through World War II, killed Nazis and everything, just to make sure that there's going to be blood flowing through the veins of Jews. He really also saved Jewish lives.